A man to be known as an apostle to Ireland was born in Britain in 386. His name was St. Patrick. His father was a deacon from the Roman Catholic family, and his mother was a close relative of the great patron saint Martin of Tours. St. Patrick's grandfather was a member of the clergy, and Patrick, when he was younger, wasn't raised with a strong emphasis on religion, and education wasn't particularly encouraged or emphasized during his childhood. Patrick was 16 years old when he was captured by pirates and brought to Ireland, where he was sold as a slave tending sheep. Patrick came to view his enslavement as God's test for his faith, and during that 6 years of captivity became deeply devoted to Christianity. And through his constant prayer and in a vision, he saw the children of Ireland reaching out their hands to him and beckoning him to come and be with them. And he grew increasingly determined to convert the Irish to Christianity. Around 408, he escaped in his enslavement and in a dream would find his way home. Patrick went to France, where he studied and entered the priesthood under the guidance of a missionary, Saint Germain, and then ordained in 418. He never lost sight of his vision to convert Ireland back to Christianity. And in 432, he was ordained as a bishop and sent by the Pope to Ireland to spread the gospel to non-believers while providing support for the small community of Christians that were living there. Upon arriving, he was met with some resistance, but managed to spread the Christian teaching along with other missionaries through preaching and writing and performing many baptisms. It is believed he used the three-leafed shamrock, which is the official seal of St. Patrick's Day, to explain the Trinity. And it's also believed that he may have introduced the Celtic cross, which combined the native sun-worshipping symbol with that of the Christian cross. By the time of his death, on March 17th, 461, he had established monasteries, churches, and schools, creating and expanding literacy in Ireland. He wasn't the first Christian missionary to Ireland, but he was the most famous. And Irish immigrants began observing St. Patrick's Day by pinning a bunch of shamrocks on their jackets, going to Mass, and then having a parade. They'd parade through the streets, celebrating their identity and their history. And Irish immigrants in Boston began one of the first parades in 1737, and in New York City it was 1766. Some of the most beautiful things that I find that Patrick gave to the people was the blessings that you find written in prayers everywhere. And one of the prayers of St. Patrick was, "May God's wisdom instruct you. May his hand protect you. May God's way direct you. May his shield defend you." Popular Irish blessings were travel blessings that said, "May you succeed on the road." Another equivalent, or the French equivalent, is "Bon voyage." Wedding blessings said, "May you have love that never, never ends." Home blessings, "May you always have walls for your wind." Friendships, "May you have a rainbow." good luck blessings. May the blessing of light be in you. There were blessings for Ireland, blessings for the children. One of the famous ones that you find is, may the road always rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm on your face. And when the rains fall on your fields, may they fall soft on your fields until we meet again. And may God hold you in the palm of your hand. Receiving blessings and giving blessings is one of the most freeing and life-giving words that we can extend to one another. And Patrick did that. It seemed to take away the darkness. It dispelled the heaviness or the things that people were struggling with. In Proverbs it says, those who live to bless others will have blessings heaped upon them. And the one who pours out his life to pour out blessings will be saturated with favor. The words of the wise soothe and heal. A life-giving word of encouragement can do wonders to restore joy to the heart. And in Proverbs 13:14 it says, when the lovers of God teach truth, a fountain of life opens up within you, and their wise instruction delivers you from the ways of death. I just want to finish with the breastplate of God, one of his other famous prayers. I arise today in the mighty strength, through the strength of Christ in his baptism, through the strength of God in his crucifixion and burial, through the strength of his descent for the judgment of doom, through the strength of his resurrection and his ascension. I arise today through God's strength to guide me, God's might to uphold me, God's wisdom to lead me, God's eye to look before me, God's ear to hear me, God's word to speak for me, and God's hand to guard me, God's way to lie before me, God's host to defend me against snares of devils, against temptation and vices, against all who wish me harm, far or near, few or many. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ in me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, to my right, Christ to my left, Christ where I lie down, Christ when I sit, Christ with every eye that sees me, every ear that hears me. Salvation is the Lord's. Salvation is Christ. May thy salvation, O Lord, be ever with us.